What if the life you're building is quietly falling apart? Not because of one big mistake, but because of small things you keep doing every day. Things no one ever told you to stop. They look normal. They feel safe, not right. But over time, they cost you everything. And the worst part is, you won't notice it until it's too late. So before that moment comes, there are things you need to stop doing. You think you have time. That's the lie most people live with. You tell yourself you'll start later, fix things later, become better later. But later is where everything gets buried. Days turn into months. Months turn into years. And nothing really changes. Not because you couldn't, but because you believed you had time. You see it in small ways. Putting off a conversation, delaying a decision, ignoring something you know matters. It doesn't feel dangerous. That's why it is. Because one day, you look back and realize you didn't run out of time. You just gave it away. At first, it feels harmless. You listen, you adjust, you try to fit in. You do what makes sense to everyone else. And slowly, you stop asking what makes sense to you. You pick the safe path, the accepted path, the path that gets approval. And it works. People respect you. They agree with you. They understand you. But something feels off. Because deep down, you know this isn't your life. It's a version of you that makes other people comfortable. And the longer you stay there, the harder it is to leave. Until one day, you don't even remember what you actually wanted. There's always something you're avoiding, a decision you keep pushing away. Not because you don't know what to do, but because you know exactly what it will cost. So you wait. You tell yourself you need more clarity, more time, a better moment. But the truth is, you're not waiting for the right time. You're waiting to feel less afraid, and that never comes. So the decision stays there, in the background, quiet, unfinished, and while you're avoiding it, it's shaping your life anyway. Opportunities pass. People move on. Things change without you. Not because you chose wrong, but because you didn't choose at all. And that's the part no one talks about. Indecision doesn't keep you safe. It just slowly removes you from your own life. Not everyone leaves loudly. Some people fade. They reply less, care less, show up less. But you still hold on to what it used to be, to what it could have been, to the version of them you remember. You make excuses for them. They're just busy. They're going through something. It'll go back to how it was. But deep down, you feel it. Something has changed, and it's not coming back. Still, you stay. Not because they're still there, but because you don't want to accept that they're not. So you keep investing, keep waiting, keep hoping, while slowly, you're the only one left in it. And one day, you realize you weren't holding on to them. You were holding yourself back. Working hard feels right. It gives you a sense of control. A sense that you're doing something meaningful. So, you stay busy. You fill your days. You complete tasks. You move constantly. But direction matters more than effort, because you can spend years moving fast and still end up nowhere. You see it in quiet moments. Waking up tired. Doing things that don't excite you. Repeating the same days with different dates. It looks like progress from the outside, but inside, you feel stuck. Not because you're lazy, but because you never stopped to ask, where is this actually taking me? And one day, you realize you didn't waste time doing nothing. You wasted it doing the wrong things well. There is no right time, only a moment that feels slightly less uncomfortable than the others. But most people wait. They wait until they feel ready. Until things are stable, until fear disappears. So they delay, starting something, leaving something, changing something. They tell themselves, soon. But soon quietly becomes never. because the conditions never become perfect. Life doesn't pause just because you're unsure. It keeps moving, and the longer you wait, the more you have to lose. That's the trap. Waiting feels safe, but it slowly closes doors you didn't even know were open, until one day you finally feel ready and realize the moment you were waiting for is already gone. If you've made it this far, you've probably seen yourself in at least one of these, maybe more, but the next ones. These are the mistakes people don't notice until much later, and by then, they're a lot harder to fix. Most people think they're the exception, that somehow their story will turn out differently, that the rules don't fully apply to them, so they take it lightly. They ignore warnings. They repeat the same patterns. They believe they'll figure it out later. But look closer. The people who failed before you, they thought the same thing. They weren't careless. They weren't stupid. They just believed they had more control than they actually did. That's where it starts. Not in big mistakes, but in quiet overconfidence. Thinking you'll stop in time. Thinking you'll notice before it's too late. But most people don't. They follow the same path, step by step, without realizing it. Until one day, they become exactly what they thought they wouldn't be. It doesn't feel urgent. That's why it gets ignored. You're busy, focused, trying to build something, so you skip the small things. Less sleep, more stress, pushing through exhaustion like it's normal. And for a while, nothing happens. You still function. You still move forward. So you assume it's fine. But the damage isn't loud. It builds quietly. In habits, in tension, in things your body keeps tolerating until it can't. And when it shows up all at once. Suddenly everything slows down. Not because you chose to, but because you have no choice. And in that moment, nothing else matters anymore. Not the work, not the plans, not the things you thought were urgent. Just one question. Why did I wait until it got this far? There are things you don't say out loud, but you know them. You feel them in quiet moments, when everything slows down, when there's no distraction left. You know that job isn't right, that relationship is fading, that something in your life doesn't fit anymore. But you look away, you stay busy, you fill your time, you convince yourself it's not that bad, because facing the truth means you have to do something about it. And that's the part you don't want. So you delay. You pretend you need more time to be sure. But you are sure. You've been sure for a while. And the longer you ignore it, the heavier it becomes. Until one day, it's no longer something you can avoid. It forces itself into your life. And by then, it costs you more than it ever should have. You can go through life without ever really knowing who you are. Just reacting, following, adjusting to whatever comes next. And from the outside, it can look fine. You're functioning, you're moving, you're doing what you're supposed to do. But inside, there's no clarity, no real direction, no sense of why you're doing any of it. So you drift from one thing to another, from one version of yourself to the next, always changing, but never choosing. And that's the danger, because if you don't decide who you are, life will decide it for you. Slowly, quietly, through habits, through people, through circumstances you never questioned. Until one day, you look at your life, and it feels unfamiliar. Not wrong, just not yours. No one tells you when you're doing life wrong. There's no warning, no clear sign. It doesn't break all at once. It slips through small choices, repeated quietly over time. And by the time you notice, it already feels far away. So maybe the question isn't, what should I do next? Maybe it's simpler than that. What should you stop doing before it costs you more?